we are in the game.
I got a lot of shit to get off my chest on this episode.
Oh man, what do we got? What do we got to go with today? What's going on?
Well, what the fuck is The Rock doing?
Okay, hold on. Let's because you're right. You got some stuff to get off your chest. Let's just first welcome everybody. Episode 4.
Oh, wait.
Tyler. Oh, I forget about it. Episode 4. Tyler's favorite number, the greatest number for Tyler's life. I'm Adam. We're gonna bring you this. This is Kayfabe Marks, and we're ready to talk about what's got Tyler so upset. His TV did make it though. I want to point that out. His TV made it through, but we need to figure out what's got Tyler so upset. So go ahead. I'm sorry, The Rock.
All right, so we're gonna start the show off talking about Raw on Netflix. Everybody loved it. I loved it. I loved the matches. Mm-hmm. I didn't love that it was 3 hours for 4 matches, but it kind of makes sense because every one of those matches was a main event caliber match.
Right.
But something that it kind of seems like a lot of people aren't talking about, and I don't understand why they're not. The Rock is not the final boss anymore.
So, I agree. I had some really strong feelings about it, but it stretched over Raw and NXT. Like I don't know what was going on with them. I don't like it. I'm not a fan. Who am I to tell The Rock what to do? But I just don't. This doesn't feel cohesive.
No, it doesn't. Beer burp.
Yeah.
So he started off to kick off Raw on Netflix. Comes out with the final boss music, but while he's hyping everybody up, this is going to be the most seen episode of Raw. We're all over, what would they say, 80% of the world?
Yeah, some astronomical amount.
This is the part where I got so mad because I had such high hopes for Rock's coming. Remember we said last week, like, he's confirmed he's going to be there, and I was like, fucking finally, we're going to get the storyline between him and Cody to advance a little bit, or him and Roman.
Yep. Somebody. Him and somebody. I was a little taken back, and I tried to look at this premiere on Netflix as like a standalone thing, and just let it kind of be like, there's storyline implications, but like let it just be what it is, especially when it came to like the promos, and then let's see what happens, further NXT, and then SmackDown. And when he said he was going to be on NXT, I was like hyped. I was like, okay, this is going to get wild. His daughter is running NXT. This is going to be dope. And then it felt super flat, and it just The Rock kissing everybody's ass, and I don't understand it. I don't understand it at all.
No, him going out and giving Cody his flowers and everything, it's like, it makes no sense the last time you guys saw each other. So now that I'm getting the Cody part off my chest, we got the first match, which I was surprised it went first, which was Solo versus Roman.
So I feel like those guys, you either go first or you go last with Roman. Like you don't go, like, that guy's not going on third.
No,
You're not putting Roman in the middle of the show. So I'm sorry. Go ahead.
So for how good the match was, which it was a very much a Roman Reigns style match.
Yeah.
I am getting really tired of like how the Mania match between Cody and Roman went, where there was 7 walk-ins or run-ins, and like in this one, we kind of all thought, it's Bloodline's going to get involved, and then Jimmy and Jey will get involved, and then so-and-so will get involved, and then I thought The Rock would get involved, and this is where we would finally see what I was calling, and The Rock would attack Roman. None of that happened. Jacob Fatu and Tama Tonga comes out, and then Roman gets the saves from Sammy and Jimmy, and then Kevin Owens is on his way out, and Cody chases him out of the maybe chased him up the ramp and out of the arena. And then Reigns wins with a spear. Now, here's the part that makes me mad. Now, the match is done. Now we get The Rock.
Mm-hmm.
And The Rock wants to put the Ulafala on Roman, which you just buried the rest of any fucking storyline between these two is The Rock saying, he is my tribal chief, and I'll put it around his neck. And it's like, I don't think The Rock's going to wrestle again, or if he does, where the fuck's the story going to go?
Well, I mean, at this point, it's only going to be some punk-ass John Cena match. But, like, even further, like, they had such a dramatic, clearly intentional, oh my goodness, that's The Rock moment. What's going to happen? And he walks out and he puts the Ulafala on Roman and he, hugs the world. And I don't understand. I mean, I could see, because he definitely was going hard on his high chiefness, and I could see him pulling rank, but why not set it up when all the eyes are on you? Like, why not? And who knows? I mean, I could be way off. They could have something crazy planned. It just doesn't feel like it. It feels like it's really, again, Kevin and Cody, their whole situation is chaotic and it's wild, but it feels cohesive. Like I can follow it. And I can say, well, Cody did this, so that made Kevin do this, and then Kevin did this, and that made Cody do that. But this, like, bloodline thing is getting a little bit muddled, and I don't want it to become 2000s NWO. I don't want it to be, you got two NWO factions, you got everybody. It's just, they could really lose this if they're not careful.
I agree, and that Raw on Netflix was the night for The Rock to do something. That was the night for something to happen. And it didn't.
I'll tell you what. I know you're going to get to it, so I'm not going to step on it too much. But with Raw on Netflix, with the most talked about thing happening being a Hulk Hogan moment, is a problem for me, because like, you had so much firepower there. Why in the world is somebody getting booed the most talked about part of your show? That's not to take away from the show. The show itself was incredible. I had fun. Like, we enjoyed it from start to finish, but you had an opportunity, I felt like, to really showcase what and in one match I felt like they showcased all of what WWE is. They had like run-in the Roman match. They had run-ins, you had this, you had that, you had the crowd, it was all like, here is what wrestling is. Here's what, sports entertainment is. Here's what you're going to get with us. All right, cool. Now set something up later then, but
yeah.
It was disappointing.
And I definitely do get into the Hogan thing. That was...
I know you do.
That was... Jesus. All right. So after that, we had John Cena come out. Marcus got all pumped up, my son, because he was in ring gear. He even had the knee pads on. I was like, oh, he's not just going to come out and cut a promo. Well, he came out and cut a promo.
Yep.
In a very, very weird promo. I didn't hate it, but for the beginning of it, where he's like, I'm not going to win another championship, and it's been 1,000 and whatever days since I've won a match, and I was like, man, you're really shitting on yourself and all your fans right now. But then he kind of turned it around with being like, but this is my last Royal Rumble. This is my last Money in the Bank. And WWE is all about chances. And all I need is a chance to get to that main event or to get that title shot. And then he really pumped everybody back up.
Mm-hmm.
It was sad that there wasn't an impromptu match, but he murdered that promo. I'm excited for this last run.
I'll tell you, and this pains me to say, but again, just like he did in their feud, he's separating himself from The Rock, and it's crazy to me. Like, it's like, I've always felt like The Rock was the GOAT, like he was my GOAT for all ever. But like, the later in his years, as John is doing all this stuff, he's separating himself. Leaps and bounds above him. Like, the promos were not even close. Like, The Rock felt like he was just going off the cuff, and John Cena was like, I'm going to play with you guys a little bit. I'm going to draw you in. I'm going to make you feel bad for me. And then I'm going to flip the script and throw it back at you all in 3 minutes. Like, That's incredible. So
It was awesome.
yeah.
Let's see. After that, we got Ripley versus Liv Morgan. Morgan accompanied by Dom and Raquel. It was good. It was a good match.
Yeah.
I still think their match at they went. It was Mania when Rhea Ripley's shoulder got dislocated, right?
I believe so. Yeah. Yeah.
I don't think that they could ever top that match that they had.
That match was great.
This match was good. It was good. Rhea retains, finally beats Liv for hopefully the last time, and maybe this is done now. We can move on.
Where do they go? What do they have?
Between those two, nothing. Liv should be on the bottom rung now.
Which is crazy. Well, yeah, not between those two, but just individually. Like, what does Rhea do next? What does Liv do next? When do we see Charlotte? Because that's got to come into play. I'm assuming eventually, or Becky, but probably Charlotte before Becky.
I would think Charlotte. I was surprised Charlotte didn't show up to Raw on Netflix, even for a crowd shot. Like quite a few people that weren't on the show were in the crowd and they were showing off.
Yeah.
Not even for that. So I wouldn't say that made me think that she's going to be out even longer. I think it's more of they're trying to keep it a surprise so when she does come back, nobody saw it coming.
Yeah, and a big pop. They're looking for because you got to get. I mean, they've had a lot of good little ones, but they're looking for that big one. Yeah, I don't know where they go after this. I will say there's a lot of Rhea Ripley hate that I've been seeing more and more in the world of wrestling. I guess we call it the international wrestling community. I just have seen so much more Rhea Ripley hate than I ever thought I would see, and it's crazy. Like they people are calling her like the female Hogan, where she's just no selling and running through people. But I don't know. I think she's a little bit more intriguing than that. I don't get that feeling from her.
I don't either. I don't think Rhea's ever changed her style of wrestling anyway. I think it's just people, most likely a lot of Liv fans, that are upset that Rhea rightfully won. And maybe people are getting sick of Rhea being pushed, but who else do you have that's that caliber?
Yeah, it's almost the Roman factor, back, when you had Roman, they just shoving him down your throat. But I don't feel like they did that with Rhea. I feel like they tried once and she didn't really get over. They reset her, moved her back, came back again, and then with the Judgment Day angle, she went to the moon, and she's just held on to it. I think she's done a great job. I don't get the hate, and I really don't. But I just have seen it a lot more than I thought previously.
How about that kick to the nuts?
For the Dom kick, I loved it, man. Like, I loved it. I love everything. I love everything Dominic Mysterio's in right now. But this is just, I need it to be over. I need it to be done. I needed that riptide on Dom to be the end of it. I really, really hope that there's not some weird Finn Balor Judgment Day. It's gonna carry on for so much longer. Because I just want it done.
Well, I don't think that the Judgment Day is going to be around that much longer. They're kind of falling apart. Liv and Finn have been seeming like fighting for who's the leader, who's the real leader.
Yeah.
That's going to rip them apart. And if Liv leaves, Dom's going to leave.
Right.
And then you're stuck with Finn, Giant Head, and Carlito.
Yeah.
JD
Giant.
Can't see all the comments like his head is 6 times the size of his body.
It's funny because it's like his head's not even that big. It's just big for him. Like I just feel like he looks like a grown toddler. And then I always thought of him being so short. Like I was like, oh, he's just a little guy. But him and Finn are the same size. And Finn's 5'11", 6 foot. He's not a short guy. I mean, I say that as a guy who's 5'11", 6 foot. So, you gotta be. So I'm begging for him not to be short, okay? Yeah. But he definitely, his head makes him seem smaller.
Yeah,
which is
it does.
Wild. I hope that this ends, but in a good way.
Yeah,
In a good way. I want it to go away the right way. You have that implosion. You have, maybe you have uh, Liv turn on Dom and all of them and do something shady, and it just ends up breaking up the group. But then at least they can all have a fresh start.
exactly. I think Judgment Day has ran its course, at least for now.
Yeah,
Um,
I agree.
all right, moving on. The next match, Jey Uso versus Drew McIntyre. Not how I thought it was going to go at all.
No.
These are my wife's two favorite wrestlers, Jey Uso, Drew McIntyre.
Mm-hmm.
And it was it would get very heated in this house when it was Drew and Punk going at it all the time. Should say that.
Yeah.
Some uncomfortable dinners. But yeah, Drew was whooping Jay's ass that whole match.
Yeah.
Which is what I thought was going to happen. I thought he was going to bury him.
Listen, they've done a good job of that too. With lately, where it's like, oh my goodness, they're going to bury him. It's going to be this, horrible thing, and then they don't make it obvious. They don't make it horrible, where it's like the comeback is crazy. But they do a good comeback and let the person, show out.
And I thought it was just great selling work. It really
Yeah.
was. Jay falling to his knees, being unable to get up on his own at all. And I
Mm-hmm.
thought, what a cherry on top that this did feel even that much more real with Jay getting a roll-up win.
Yes. Yeah.
We don't get enough of
Because
those.
not in big spots.
No.
You get some really cool roll up wins in like these, final or these tournaments that they do for number one contender or for a title or whatever. You get some cool roll up wins, some cool stuff like that. But in these big spots, yeah, you don't get it. Drew's killing it right now, and he's doing it in a very sneaky, awesome way. Like, he's doing the exact same thing that KO is doing, but somehow it's still fresh.
Yeah, I'll agree. And he's kept that kind of like character that he had when he was going against Punk,
Mm-hmm.
but it's changed just enough to where it's not getting stale.
Right.
Yeah,
Yeah. He's hunting everybody down.
I love it.
Yeah.
And then just at the very, very end, that look of like shock and anger all at the same time on Drew's face, that sealed it for me.
Mm-hmm.
That was awesome.
And I thought it was a solid match. Really solid match.
I'm just glad it wasn't 50-50 who's going to win, because it's just not believable. Drew is a monster.
Right. Yeah, and you couldn't have it where, because main event Jey Uso, man, he's the big name. You couldn't let him look weak, but you also had to be realistic, like you said. Like, this is Drew McIntyre here. There should be no beating up on Drew. Like, if you beat Drew McIntyre, you got one in on him. It wasn't. You don't beat Drew McIntyre. You don't beat Braun Strowman. You don't beat, these guys. You got to get one over on them. So
It felt perfect.
yeah, I agree.
Now it's time to wrap up Raw on Netflix with probably my second favorite match of the year. Well, I guess this is a new year now. My favorite match of the year.
It is a new year. That's definitely your favorite match of the year. I was gonna say what happened earlier in this card that made this your second favorite. I was like, woo. All right.
'Cause my match of the year last year was 100% Drew Punk in that Hell in a Cell.
Yeah, that's got to be everybody's. That was incredible.
But this, we'll see how the rest of the year goes, but I was tickled pink. I loved the shit out of this.
My feelings on both of these men when it comes to Punk and Rollins, and I think it's a cool rivalry. I think it's great. Neither is my favorite wrestler. Neither is my favorite, my top guy. But this had me. I stayed awake, right? Like, I stayed awake through the whole night. And if you know me out there in our world, that me staying awake past 9:30, 10 o'clock is a miracle. So to stay awake through this whole match and be actually, invested in it and pulled into it, it was gorgeous. It was a work of art, in my opinion.
I loved it, and it was so realistic too. Just, I mean, they were very back and forth at the beginning, but when Seth took over, he took over and hit Punk with everything, all of his signature moves, and a GTS, which pissed me off like so bad. If he would have won using the GTS, I would need a new TV.
I'm telling you now, if he would have won using the GTS, you would have needed a new phone too, because I wouldn't have stopped calling you. Like I would have I'd have just kept calling you on repeat until you answered, because that would have been the greatest thing of all time. I would say the false finishes in this match were way above and beyond. What we've seen from a lot of other matches. It's these guys are their chemistry and their ability to work together when they truly don't like each other is amazing to me, because they put on a masterful performance that felt real, and just on this side of felt real. It there was some real heat in that for both of them.
Oh God, yeah. And I mentioned Chris Van Vliet on the previous episode. Well, I don't know if you saw, but he had Seth Rollins on this week.
Yep.
And I haven't listened to the whole thing, but he does clips too. And I did listen to the clip about him talking about Punk. Yeah, dude, they don't like each other at all. That's not a work. That's real.
Nope. That is real life. They do not get along. And you haven't really gotten to the finish yet, but I thought it was perfect. I thought that finish was it couldn't have gone differently. I didn't feel like it could have, and for their story.
No, it was awesome. The Punk on his knees, Rollins hits the ropes, comes back, falls perfectly on his shoulders to hit another GTS. You could tell Punk was gassed, but not blown up. But he was gassed.
Yep.
The selling in that match was beautiful. The whole thing, A fucking plus.
Yeah, and that's not the first time that sequence has happened. And ironically, it was Mox. Dean Ambrose had a sequence with him just like that. And that, so it was kind of cool to see that with him. I think it was, had to have been 10, 12 years ago or whatever, 15 years ago. And then now to have that with Seth is just, it was a cool sequence. I like the way it ended.
And what a testament to showing these guys professionalism.
Yep.
They hate the shit out of each other, but they both want to make money, and neither one. I'm not the kind of guy that would get worried about seeing a sandbag in the match.
Right.
But if there was ever two guys that wanted to sandbag on each other, I thought it would be this, and they did not. They both fairly sold every move. They're just very generous in that match, and I think it's going to be match of the year.
Well, this was a great example of two guys going into business for each other, and not in a way of like we like each other and want each other to have the best. We need each other, and we need each other in order to make the most money, to make the biggest impact. And they went for it. I would have loved to have been a fly on the wall as that match got walked through. Or do they call it on the fly? Like, I don't know. But that, if they had to do walkthroughs on that, I would have loved to be in that room watching those two discuss that match. So
just a perfect match. And then at the very end where you get the credits and everything else, and you just see Punk sitting on the apron, staring back, and you could still see the hate. I loved it. I loved the hell out of it.
It was gold.
Then that was the end of Raw on Netflix. What would you grade that? The whole show. The show itself.
as not a PLE, right?
Yep.
It was like a B plus. You know, it was a really, really, really good show. If it was a PLE, which it really kind of should have been, it probably like a C, honestly, because there wasn't enough, nothing finished and nothing moved forward definitively. So, like, it would have probably not been great to me because, again, I'm all about the drama. So, you know, but yeah, as knowing that it wasn't a PLE, B plus. I really liked it.
I'm right around that same spot. I'd go A minus. And like I said, the things that I had gripes about. Oh yeah, we didn't even talk about Hogan. We didn't even talk about Hogan.
No, I was waiting, but I figured maybe you wanted to save it for the end. Yeah, go ahead. Talk about
I don't
the
know.
Hulkster.
I don't know whose call this was, but at a certain point, I almost wonder if it's Hunter or it's Khan or whoever the hell is calling this. Are they ribbing Hogan?
I'm glad you said it. I am really glad you said it. I almost feel like they have to be doing this to punish that man. Like, because I know he's delusional. Like, you know that. You know, he's absolutely delusional about things. He makes stuff up. He just talks to talk. So to take that person, that ego, and say, go out there and let 17,000 people boo you, has to be a joke. Like, it has to be a joke. You can't tell me that anybody in that front office in Connecticut was like, hey guys, we think this is going to do really well. Like, people are going to love this.
We're like 10 years into him saying the N-word now, right? Like we're like a decade in. He's been being booed for a fucking decade. Why does he still look shocked every time he comes out to hear the fucking boos?
Because he thinks it's for somebody else. Like, I guarantee you, he's like, who else do I need to bring out here with me? Like, this time I brought Jimmy Hart. I thought you guys liked Jimmy Hart. The last 4 people I brought out, you booed. Why do you keep doing it? The guy's delusional. That's why he keeps asking, probably. And they're like, we can't tell him no. It's in his Legends contract. He has to be able to show up.
I guarantee you that is what happened. In his mind, he's like, man, the hell did Jimmy?
Man, they hate Jimmy. What did Jimmy do to these guys, man? He's like, I'm gonna have to get Brooke to show me on the internet what Jimmy did, you know?
My God.
Listen, the guy's delusional. He's delusional. And not only because, you know, he's a racist, and in his conversation at least, you know, I gotta take him for what he's done. But because he's just a bad person. He's just not a good dude. He's a big baby. And I think he gets booed by the smart fan and the casual fan. The casual fan boos him because he said the N-word. The smart fan boos him because he buried every single great wrestler he ever came across. The smart fan boos him because of Dusty and because of Macho Man and because of Jesse the Body. Like, that's why he's getting booed. It's not even just the racist thing. The guy's getting booed because he's a piece of shit. like there's just no other way around it. And sure, if you want to keep setting them up there, they're going to keep knocking them down, and they're probably going to get louder.
Speaking of Hogan being a piece of shit, you know I'm a figure fucking collector.
Yeah.
I am. It's bad. Like, we're sitting at over 100 figures.
Yeah.
One of these days I'll have to, like, I would turn the camera right now to show my CM Punk display, but we'll save it for another day. But
we'll do a special episode, like a special 30-minute episode where we can just go in and talk about what you got and do all that. That'd be awesome.
So, being a wrestling figure collector fan, I found out a story about Hogan and the WCW days that's related to action figures. And give 100% credit to Big Show or Paul White, same dude.
Yeah.
Back in the day, if you went to,
not gonna tell me they're the same.
If you went to Kmart or Shopko or whatever, we're old, we remember those.
Blue Light Special, baby.
And you bought a WCW figure. Let's say I'm going there and I'm going to buy a Buff Bagwell figure. And you go to checkout, every single figure would come up as Hulk Hogan. nobody got royalties for those action figures. Hogan got everybody's royalties.
What? I never heard that one.
Yeah, there's a smart mark in all of us, I guess.
Oh, I never heard that one. There's definitely a smart mark in all of us. So that one's good. The guy's he's a jerk.
Yeah.
He's a jerk. So, and he's a crybaby. And I can't. He's a liar. Yeah, I just can't. Everything about the guy I don't like. So.
Well, now that we've finished burying Hogan, definitely not the last time on the show, but at least for now.
I hope not.
Did you want to move on to? Did you want to move on to SmackDown, and then we can do our? We're not doing a Mount Rushmore this episode for everybody.
We are not.
Hearing we went a different direction, but you're still gonna get our personal favorites and.
We'll call it a list.
Yeah.
A ranking. You're gonna get a ranking.
Yeah.
Yeah. Let me start with number one. I got the whiskey of the week. This one I do know. This is High West. It's a Campfire. Ezra got it for me for Christmas because my 7-year-old likes to buy me whiskey. But I will say that being that I'm in Illinois, I think I'm gonna do something special tonight. Look what I found. Unpacking some boxes. That there, my friends, is Jeppson's Malort. I don't know if you've ever had it, Tyler. But
that doesn't look like one I'd be familiar with when we went disc golfing.
No, absolutely not. No, this would have been, let me put it to you like this. This would have sat in the bag for the entire season. And if you ever put up like a certain number, like we would have set like a number that was astronomically high for par or something. And if you pass that number in throws, you have to take this shot. Like this is what The Rock should be. Okay, this is the final boss. Jeppson's Malort. I'm gonna tag them in this when we do this, and I guarantee you'll have people come to this video just to say how shitty Jeppson's Malort is. It's a Chicago thing, man. So I'm in Illinois now, so I gotta do what my people do here.
And just a little background. Me and Colton and Rankins used to go disc golfing like 3 times a week. And at the local liquor store in Menominee, Wisconsin, they had mystery bags with shots in them.
Oh,
so we would buy 2 mystery bags. Is it 2 or did we get 6 shots?
No,
in one?
No.
Just 1?
It was 6 in 1. Yeah, so it was like 6 shots for $5. So, yeah, we just get 1.
So we'd buy 1, which had 6 shots in it, and we would go the first 9 holes, and whoever was winning would get to pick what shot they want out of the mystery bag, but they also get to pick what shot the other 2 guys do. So if you won the first 9 and the last 9, you were feeling pretty good. Because you were getting easy shit like UV blue or fireball, and then you're given like fucking straight up, I don't know. What were the really bad ones?
Any tequila, mostly for us. Like it was like tequila or 99 bananas or... Oh, I'm just gonna throw up thinking about it now. But this was on top of, guys. This was on top of a backpack that we would carry that was full of beer. So it was like a 30 rack of beer put into a backpack. The loser, which normally started to be me, because I was by far the worst of the 3 of us. So I just took the bag to start with because I knew better. And the loser of each hole had to carry that bag for the next hole. And so if you were the loser, you drank a lot more because you wanted that bag lighter. But then you became a bigger loser, and then you had to drink whatever shot Colton or Tyler gives to you at the 9 and the 18th hole. So this right here would have been the worst shot of any of them by far times 10.
Wow.
Yeah, it is the worst thing I've ever had. And I've only had it, I think, once or twice, and we're going to do it tonight when we're all done here.
Oh, God.
Not before. Not before we're done. So, all right, yeah, let's get into SmackDown a little bit, huh? So, there was a lot that happened, and it was all kind of packed into a little bit. It didn't feel like a 3-hour show, really. It moved pretty quick, but they started off with definitely talking about what happened on Netflix, and then Paul Heyman came out and cut a beautiful promo talking about Roman and he's going to enter the Royal Rumble, which is pretty cool. It's interesting because it's like you got a lot of people in this Rumble now who can't lose the Rumble, so What are you going to do? And by a lot of people, I mean Roman and John Cena. And, of course, Cody Rhodes comes out. Kevin Owens comes out. They start doing their thing again. They're all over the place. You get the new bloodline come out, and they kind of pin down Heyman for a while, and Jimmy comes out to the save, and it's just another hectic, crazy start of people running out, people beating people up. I will say that the greatest part of this segment was, and I don't know, I can't remember if it was before or after the commercial, but the greatest part was when they were trying to take out Jacob Fatu out of the building, and LA Knight comes in, pushes him out of the building, and he says, "I got a championship to go fight or to go win." And he says he just kicked him out, and I thought that was phenomenal. So that opening segment was good. What was that?
LA does no wrong in my mind.
Oh, that was like unexpected, you know what I mean? And really badass. Like, because Jacob Fatu is Jacob Fatu. He comes through, pushes him out, says, you wanted him out there, he's out there, I got a championship to win, I love it. I love what they're doing with LA.
Me too.
But after all that chaos, then we got our rematch, right? We got our U.S. title, or women's U.S. title rematch with Chelsea Green and Michin. I was excited about this. I'm not going to lie to you, because I really enjoyed their first match. It wasn't, again, it was not the greatest match of the year or anything, but it was enjoyable. It was good. And I kind of felt the same way about this one. Chelsea Green came away again with a win, which was awesome, but, Michin still looked good.
Oh yeah, nobody got buried in that match at all. I'm enjoying the rivalry, and I hope Chelsea hangs on to this belt for a while, because every week she's been really charismatic with her different United States gear and
yeah. Oh man, yeah, she's definitely the right person for this title, and. They could do some cool stuff. They could have some cool matches. They can bring some people up from NXT or over from NXT, however you want to look at it. They can get those TNA people in there and have her wrestle some of those TNA folks. And I think it's a cool, unique opportunity for them, because Green is really good.
She is. So the next match was LA Knight versus Nakamura U.S. Championship. And like you had said, the Fatu spot happens. Did LA pay for that later on?
You know what? He did. I missed that. Oh no, I just put it. They had that tag team match. Was that before this one?
I thought I had my pretty deadly order, but I might not.
I can't remember which was first, but yeah, they had that. No, it would have had to have been, I don't know. Either way, there was a tag team match. Los Garzas was Pretty Deadly. I wasn't invested in it. It was a good match for what it was. It was, fly around, do this, do that. I don't like either tag team. I'm really, these bottom of the rung tag teams they're not doing it for me anyway. So we don't have to talk about that too much. But that Nakamura LA Knight fight in that match, those dudes, man, they are getting better and better together every single week. To the point where I actually look forward to another match of theirs. Like, I want another LA Knight Nakamura match.
Yeah, and just bringing up the Pretty Deadly versus Legado del Fantasma.
Yeah.
That's the first time I've ever seen Pretty Deadly wrestle. I've either missed it or maybe I don't remember, but do they even have an offense?
No, they don't. But I think, again, when we get to our top 10 later, we'll touch on this too. But Pretty Deadly has in my opinion, pretty deadly gimmick, and it's a gimmick that doesn't allow them to show, because they are really good wrestlers. Because they were NXT UK, I think, before. They were like the tag team champs there, and they still had this same style and the same nature, but they were a little bit more cutthroat at times, and they actually won matches. But no, they don't really. You haven't seen them wrestle because they don't wrestle on SmackDown or anywhere else. They're same with Los Garzas. Like, they get thrown into this stuff every now and again, and it just doesn't. We feel like this. We're like, oh, that's cool. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, I was disappointed.
Yeah, I agree. What'd you think about that? What did you think about the Nakamura LA Knight match though?
It was so good, but
Hmm.
the fucking ending, like, come on, LA was right here,
Yeah,
and then
yeah,
Fatu and Tamatanga got to come out and fuck it up.
yeah,
Which Bloodline is just fucking feuding with everyone.
yeah. That's okay.
Yeah,
That's
no, it's
okay.
fine.
I'm okay with it. Yeah, like let him go. It's just like Bronson Reed, man. When Bronson Reed was running around just tsunamiing people out of nowhere and onto cars and shit, I was like, that's okay. Let him just go. I don't care who he messes with. Just go fuck him up. But yeah, I actually really like the ending only because it guarantees we'll get another Nakamura LA Knight match, and so anytime they keep punting that football down the field, I'll take it. So just keep punting them until you get them into a big match. You get them into a cage. You get them Hell in a Cell. You get them somewhere, into some match, ladder match, something that really, really, really lets them shine. That's what I can't wait for. So
And
it's got to come
something
at the Rumble. It's going to come.
and something with a no DQ.
Yeah, that's kind of what I meant. Yeah, just something that they get to cook, as the kids say these days. Let them cook.
Um, Next match, I have down as Motor City Machine Guns versus A Town
Yep.
Down Under, right?
Yep, that's what I have. Yep.
Okay, so I must have just had those two out of order.
And I don't even know that they were. I may have written them down wrong. I do know. Yeah. Either way, we're good. This one, yeah, this one it's almost like everything I said about the last tag team match, except for I do really like both of these tag teams, and I do think they're really awesome. I just don't care right now. Like, there's just other stuff that I'm like, right now you're just kind of filler, right?
It was
But I
wasn't it for the number one contender spot?
Yeah.
It was.
Well, it was like those two, and then the other two were fighting, and then it was like a little mini tournament. And I think the two winners are gonna, who is it? Uh, um, Motor City Machine Guns and was Los
Legado.
Garzas? Did they win? Yeah, those two will face off now. I think next week, and then they will be the number one contenders, which means that Motor City Machine Guns will be the number one contenders. But
Pretty much.
yeah, but that's fine. That's fine. I really love A Town Down Under. They are the most underrated people to me. I absolutely love Austin Theory. I think he is a stud. And Grayson Waller is the funniest, like, best setup dude in the game right now. Like, he makes everybody look good, and he doesn't have a problem doing it. He's better at it than Baron Corbin. So
I miss Baron.
me too. Me too. I follow him on Twitter just to get a little taste of Baron Corbin in my life.
Yeah.
So
He'll come back. He'll be back.
yeah, he's one of those guys that you say again the same thing with Grayson Waller, man. You'll miss them when they're gone because those are the guys that that put these guys over, that move these things forward, and um, yeah. So but A Town Down Under, I don't want them to be champions or anything, but I wish they were featured more.
Yeah, I agree. The next match I have down is the women's Fatal Four Way.
Yeah, it's a big one,
Week
huh?
before
This
that
is
was Tiffy Time's celebration that got cut short.
yeah, yep, yep. Which congratulations, Tiffy Time, Tiffy Time, Tiffy Time. Love you, Tiffy Stratton. You're doing great. But these four, this was interesting to me when I kind of like saw. I was like, oh, we're gonna have these four fight tonight. Like, all right,
Match
that'll
of
be
the
good.
night.
Yeah,
Match of the
absolutely,
night.
absolutely, match of the night. Yeah, and it did not end the way I thought it. I mean, it was a very back and forth match throughout. It was good. It was hard hitting again for the women, which I really thought was phenomenal. Naomi got way more time than I thought she would ever get, and showed out, did a great job. And I've been critical of her lately because I thought she's been pulling punches and hasn't been that great. I've been critical of her. So anyway, all around, all four of them I thought did a great job.
I went into this match going, oh great, so Nia Jax is just gonna whoop three women's ass, and then now it's on to Tiffy time. I told Cassie, well, she asked me. My wife is Cassie, by the way, if anybody hasn't picked that up yet. But when we started the match, she goes, who's going to win? And I was like, who's going to win or who do I want to win? And she goes, both. And I was like, Nia Jax is going to win, but I want Bayley to win. Because I've always been a hugger. Always. I love Bayley.
Yep.
And
I was with you there.
To what you said, I almost feel bad. What was it, episode 1, when I was talking about, like, what the fuck Naomi is just botching since she came back.
Mm-hmm.
These last few weeks, man,
she's been money. She has been money. And then, Bianca's Bianca, and she's gonna be great. She's gonna lift you up. She's gonna throw you around. She's gonna do some cool spots. She's gonna help. She's gonna help elevate whoever she needs to help elevate. Bianca's an absolute gamer. I honestly thought it was gonna be Bianca or Naomi to win, only because I wanted to see that separation further. But seeing Bayley win, I'm really excited about that. I am really excited.
We did get that accidental hair whip to Naomi, though.
Yep.
We did get that.
Yep.
And when that happened,
then I always love those.
I was like, because you could tell she didn't mean it, but Naomi's looking at her like, yes, you did.
Yeah. We're in a fight, though,
There was the one time where they were staring each other down, only two in the ring, and instead of going at each other, they both chose to dive out of the ring.
Which to me just sets the tone for that tension. Like, we are going to get the best triple threat of all time when we have Bianca and Jade and Naomi all. And this is me saying this, even though we know a women's triple threat headline WrestleMania one year, and I still think it'll be as good, if not better, than that one. Because those three ladies together and the chemistry they have together, and one big match would be crazy. That's going to happen, though. There's going to be that clash at some point.
So, do we know, like, obviously Kayfabe, Jade is hurt.
Right.
Do we know what the hell's actually going on? Is she got a legitimate injury and they're like, all right, we'll write you off TV or what? Because I tried looking it up and I can't find anything.
From what I've seen before when this stuff happens, like, because I don't think she has a real injury. I think that they made some injury up, but I also think she needed a little bit more work again. She wants to move to that next level and wants to continue to move to that next level. And I think these little breaks that she has off are her going back to the performance center and spending more time in there. And I think it's awesome because it builds that anticipation for her. And we're not flooded with her.
It does. Guesses on who did it? Because right now, with everything that we saw in this Fatal 4-Way and what you were saying, maybe Naomi did it.
Here's the hot take of this household on that day, and this was from my lovely wife Marissa. She thinks Bianca did it. All right, I told her she's being a hater. All right, we don't talk about Bianca that way in this house, but I know that the EST does not get talked about that way. But she is convinced that Bianca did it, and she's starting to turn me a little bit, and I'm starting to think that hair whip may not have been as accidental as we think it was.
Oh, that's I don't know. I'm just excited because what did they think? Who did they initially blame for it again?
Well, I thought it was like the Candace and Naomi or not Naomi, Candace and Nia and
Tiffany.
And Tiffany, right? Was that, or was it the? Well, no, because Damage Control did it. No, they didn't. They don't know who did it. Yeah, I think it was everybody thought it was those three, and then everybody's kind of like, oh, maybe it was Naomi, and they've never really. I don't think they've moved that forward at all. So hopefully we'll get some kind of resolution on that soon. Maybe Jade comes back and she tells us who did it.
Yeah, the other thing that's why it had to have been a sneak attack from behind, and she didn't see it. Otherwise, people like me and you are going, why doesn't somebody fucking text her and ask?
Yeah, just be like, hey Jade, who did this, bro? she her phone broke in the crash.
She's not a that's why married to my favorite baseball player or anything like that.
No, her phone broke, okay, and it needs to stay broke until she comes back to work. That's when she can have her phone again.
All right, and then main event, the impromptu main event that Even I was surprised it happened. But when Cody
What'd
came
you
down
think
there
about that?
initially, I pointed out, I was like, he's in his gear. He'd be in a nice little 3-piece suit if he wasn't gonna have a match. And then of course we find out, yeah, they're gonna have a match. And I do want
What'd you
to
think about how they did that?
I fucking loved Jimmy's attire.
That all red?
With the
That all
basketball
red against that
jersey,
all.
and
Yeah.
it was sick.
Well, that all red against that blue ring, which I have my issues with, but that all red against that blue ring was dope. It was cool looking, and it just gets me hyped for what I hope to be someday another brand war.
Um,
Those are always my favorite.
yeah, I don't know how I'm feeling about the black canvas and now the blue canvas. The blue one is all right. The black one, I hope it was just a one-time thing.
Yeah.
I was just getting used to having Prime in there and being like, I can ignore it. But with the Netflix ring, there's like fucking 5 different sponsors in there.
Yeah, well, I think that's going to stay. That's not going to change. That's only going to get crazier. They're going to have sponsors for everything. Yeah, and they're so corporate now. You know, I mean, you start doing stuff with Netflix and you start doing all this. You're gonna have to do those things. But they do it in Japan. They do it in the UFC. They do it all over the place. I can ignore it. At first, though, it really did bother me. It was kind of annoying. I felt like an old man.
Yeah, I know, right?
I was like, "What are you guys doing out there? Put my ring back."
Yeah. Don't like change.
Yeah, I was like, what's with this blue ring? My wife was like, it's always a blue ring. I was like, not that blue. Like, I don't want that color blue.
Not that blue.
Put it back. Yeah, put it back. But
So,
whatever. It didn't take away from the show much.
one thing I did take away from this main event, Kevin is making Cody break ties with people. He left Jimmy out there on his own.
Yep. I think what you're bringing up right now is some next level stuff when it comes to like the psychology of it, because you're right. Like he's forcing everybody to look at Cody the way he sees Cody, and that's his goal here, and he's doing a masterful job. Well, Kevin Owens is very underappreciated, and I think Kevin Owens is incredible, and he's doing a great job with this. He does a great job with everything, but he's in my opinion, he's carrying Cody here. It may sound bad, but he's carrying Cody in this feud.
He's the one definitely moving the story along. That's for sure.
Yeah. I'm more interested in him. I'm more interested in what's got Kevin mad and what's Kevin's motives, what's Kevin's mood. I don't really care what Cody's motives or mood or feelings are. I care what Kevin's are. So that to me just shows like, man, he's got me invested in this.
But that is how the match ended. It was 2-on-1 on Jimmy, and it was over.
Yeah. Yeah, what are you gonna do? That beautiful moonsault though. Oh my goodness.
He's only botched it once.
Oh my goodness. Jacob Fatu is.
I mean,
we're lucky.
Even his botch was good because he played it off like he rolled his ankle on the rope. Like that just shows the mind he has for the business. That quick, he didn't look around and go, oh no, it was instantaneous before he even hit the ground. He was playing on that leg.
Yeah, that IQ is it shows that's a lifestyle. That's a lifelong exposure to this business. That's the only way you get that. You know.
So, what do you rate SmackDown then?
Again, it was entertaining. It was an entertaining SmackDown, but it was a really middle of the road kind of show for me. I'd go C plus on it. It was good. It was good. I wasn't mad. You know.
Yeah, I'll go B. Solid B. Not a B plus, not a B minus, just B. It moved the things along that it needed to. It sprinkled a little salt and some wounds.
Yeah.
And that Fatal 4-Way, man, stole the show. I love that match.
But that's good. I love when the non-main event, the non-opener, the non-big show match just steals it in every way possible. Not only in just being a good wrestling match, but also very entertaining story and an awesome kind of a continued storylines within that storyline. And they're doing a good job.
They are.
Those ladies are killing it.
Now it's time to find out for me and Rankins, favorite gimmick wrestlers, and we're going to do a top 10 for favorite gimmick wrestlers, and we'll do a top 5 for worst gimmick wrestlers. For me, I felt like you needed to be established. That's why I didn't do a top 10, or I could do a fucking top 40 of worst gimmick wrestlers. But think about it. I mean, some of them only wrestled one time.
Right.
So I figured top 5 of ones that we just hated, that were established and at least hung around for a bit. Because, I mean, you can put the Goon. You can put, God damn it, what was that one dude? The Kiss Demon. Those are easy.
Yeah.
Those are easy. I want somebody that was hung around for a hot second. Or, which I do have one on here that was a one time, but it was such a one time that everybody's still pissed off about it today.
Yeah, I'm excited to hear your list, because I think they're going to be different lists, because I kind of went a little bit more like traditional on mine. In my thinking, I went like, all right, who's the best character? Like who are my favorite characters over time? Still gimmicks, but not like Doink the Clown gimmicks, so to speak. But still gimmicks.
That might be one of mine.
How you want to do this? You want to go 10-1 and then do our least favorite? How you want to do a least favorite first? What do you want to do?
We'll do the best, and I'll go 10-1, and then I wrote down 2 honorable mentions that I was like, I just couldn't lose somebody else on my list to put them in.
Yeah, I've got an honorable mention for mine.
So number 10, I have the Ultimate Warrior.
Okay.
I know it's shit on by so many people of being a one-trick pony, but so was Goldberg, and it was still a mandate for both of them.
Yeah.
He was Goldberg before Goldberg.
Yes, yeah. Yeah, there's a lot of one-trick ponies out there who have made a lot of money doing this business.
Number 9, Doink the Clown.
Okay, yep.
The original Doink the Clown. Matt Bourne, Doink the Clown.
Yes, Matt Bourne. Yes, not the ones afterwards. Matt Bourne was great.
This one's going to be controversial.
All right, mark this clip right here for TikTok. Thank you.
Eugene.
It's not that controversial.
No?
It's a little weird that it's on your favorites list, but it's not that controversial that it's coming up. It is on my list, just not this one, for other reasons. It's not Eugene's fault. I thought Eugene, like, it was awesome. It was an awesome time, but it's not. Yeah.
He had me crack up every single time he was on screen. I had to put him on the favorites.
Eugene was good.
Hurricane Helms.
It's my honorable mention, yeah.
And then I have Goldust.
Yep.
Sting.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm not going to separate Surfer Sting and...
No.
And then we had Joker Sting way down the road, and then we have the Crow Sting. Just Sting. Just Sting.
Sting as a whole.
A fucking amazing guy. And then I have Kane.
Mm-hmm.
Mankind. Not Mick Foley. I'm talking 96, in your house champion Mankind.
Yep.
And then I have The Fiend.
Yeah.
And then The Undertaker.
Okay. All right. I like your list. I actually have a lot of regrets in my list now hearing your list, because I'm like, oh, I really like that guy too. Who are your honorable mentions?
Papa Shango.
Yeah, good choice.
Boogeyman.
Yeah, Boogeyman's great. Yeah, when you said Papa Shango, I was like, I hope Boogeyman's there too. Good choices.
And not just Papa Shango, but the Godfather as well. It was such a gimmick.
Right.
But I love it.
Even the Good Father. I love the Good Father. Someday when we talk about staples, you will realize how much I truly loved
Right to Censor?
Censorship. Right to Censor, yes. Stevie Richards, loved him. Anyway, well, that's another day. Let me go. I'll start my list.
All right.
Number 10, I put The Fiend. He's not actually number 10. I just wanted to say him first or last. So I was like, I got to put him in here. Because... Bray Wyatt. Bray Wyatt's incredible. He's a hero of mine. So, number 9 was I Got Kids, Heath Slater. I know it's not necessarily like a character, but the gimmick of I Got Kids was one of my favorites. Like, I didn't even watch wrestling at this time, but I knew about I Got Kids, Heath Slater, and I would look for his stuff because I loved it.
I want the shirt still.
I still want the shirt. I'm gonna make it. I'm gonna make. Oh, you have one?
I have kids now, so I want the shirt.
Oh, all right. I'm gonna just make us shirts. I'm gonna make us I Got Kids shirts. So we'll reach out to Heath Slater. He's probably got a couple extras. Number 8 was $1 Million Man. That takes me back to when I was a kid and I played it on the Nintendo. I loved $1 Million Man. And everybody's got a price. I just love that whole situation. And then number 7, I had Sergeant Slaughter because, spitting, yelling Sergeant Slaughter was one of my favorites, and which goes with my number 6 because you can't have Sergeant Slaughter if you don't have the Iron Sheik, and to me the Iron Sheik is what made Hulk Hogan. So it's the Iron Sheik to me could be higher on this list, is just as a great wrestler in general. Number 5, I got Macho Man, Randy Savage. Always loved Macho Man.
My wife is gonna kick me square in the balls.
Oh, yes, she is.
Her all-time favorite, and I don't have them on my list.
I can't wait. I can't wait for her to listen to this, and then I get that Snapchat from her that's like, he didn't say Macho Man. I'm like, he didn't say Macho Man. I don't know. I set him up. I don't know what to tell you. Number 4, one of my favorite time periods was Legend Killer Randy Orton. Because that dude came out of literally nowhere all the time and just was destroying people. Loved it. Who was it? Was it Mark Henry that was hurt and he took out Mark Henry while Mark Henry had a broken foot or something like that? Or one of the guys did.
I can't
remember. Maybe it was Big Show. One of the guys. One of the legends he took out while they were already injured, and I was like, this is the greatest thing I've ever seen. So loved it. Number 3, I had Kane. Number 2, I had Undertaker, which left number 1 for the greatest character in the history of wrestling, in my opinion, and that's Mr. McMahon. That gimmick is the one. That's the one when we were talking earlier where I said there's going to be one on here that I don't think is a gimmick anymore, but it started out that way, and that's Mr. McMahon. It started out as a gimmick, and it became real, and I think that's why people don't look at that as a character, as a gimmick. I'm like, no, that whole Mr. McMahon is a gimmick. So,
did you watch the Netflix documentary?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I
don't think it's but you can see my terrible hair. I'm in the middle of growing a mullet. Give me a little bit.
It's gonna be phenomenal.
Speaking of fucked up haircuts that I've done, do you remember when you left town, that last day that you were in town? I came in and shaved half my beard and half my head.
Yes.
When you work that way?
Yes, I do remember that. Listen, we're gonna have to get into those stories one of these days. Because that whole phenomenon era of our lives was phenomenal. AJ style. Well, hey, I'll start with the dislikes if you want.
Yeah.
The hates. This is I'll go backwards to kind of 5 to 1. I think number 5 for me was the sexual chocolate Mark Henry.
Really?
Mark Henry was a hero of mine, when I was a kid, because he was a power lifter and he was in the Olympics and he was a monster, and I wanted him to always be a monster. I just always wanted him to be that dude. And I didn't like when they started doing that. It was Val Venus, and I never liked Val Venus. I could probably put him in this spot just as easy. Even as as a kid, which sounds weird that I'd have an opinion on these guys as a child, but I didn't like that time frame for Mark Henry.
I get that.
Next was Kurt. What's that?
I get that.
Yeah, it was just wasn't good. I liked seeing him wrestle and seeing him destroy people. The world's greatest slam is still my favorite finisher. If I got to be a wrestler today, that would be my finisher. So, next was Kerwin White, because Chavo Guerrero Jr. did not deserve that. I don't care. I don't care what is going on anywhere. He did not deserve that.
It was so bad.
It was so bad. So bad. Like Mean Street Posse bad. It was so bad.
There's a callback. Holy shit.
Yeah, yeah. That I have pictures. I'll find them. I've been going through a lot of pictures lately, so I've been finding some good ones. But I have pictures of me in Mean Street Posse style sweater vest because I loved the sweater vest of Mean Street Posse. Keep that to yourself. Don't tell anybody else.
You should make that the thumbnail.
I think I'll find it. I have it. I'll make that. Yeah, I have it. And it is as embarrassing as you can imagine. It was a school picture. Like, it was a legit professional photo of me wearing this Mean Street Posse bright yellow sweater vest. And I did not see a problem with it. My third one is Doink, but not the original Doink. Not the original Doink.
Okay.
All the rest of them. So I'm with you on the love for original Doink, but it was all the ones after that I didn't like. It got to be stupid.
Oh,
it just got to be
like
over.
Steve Lombardi, wasn't he one of them?
He was one, and I think there was another guy. Like, it just got to be too much. They were just doing too much. But that's the WWF back then was just doing too much. Period. So characters were a big deal for them.
We had a fucking Duke the Dumpster Drozy.
Yeah, yeah, and I didn't even get into those because I'm like, those were just so ridiculous. You know, like, come on. But these are just ones that I didn't like. You know, but yeah, all the trades that they had. You know, you had the Big Boss Man, you had the prisoner, you just had all these different nails. Yeah, nails. You had the biker, you had the gangs for a while. Remember this, like Los Boricuas and who else they have? There was like
the motorcycle gang DOA.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You had DOA, and then you had the Nation of Domination. Like, you had that whole, like, it was just all bad. It was all so bad. Number 2, I guess this is Eugene, because I just didn't like the character. I thought he was awesome. He was like great doing it. Even then I was like, this isn't funny. Like, this isn't funny.
That just shows the differences between me and you, because he's number 7 on my fucking list.
Yeah, and I know that's why I laughed. Like, I was like, it's not a problem having him in this segment. I'm just shocked at where in this segment he is for you. So yeah, we'll be cutting that up. We'll put that out there for the people. Eugene, for the record, is number 2 on my dislike list, and Eugene is number 7 on Tyler's favorite list. That's just for later, so we remember that. Number 1 is no surprise to anybody ever. It is the New Day. I cannot stand the New Day. I hate the gimmick. I hate the whole thing. It's the sorry to say it. It's just that Uncle Tom dance for me kind of behavior. I just can't get down with. I can't get down with it. Those guys are way too talented. Those guys are way too good to be kind of treated like sideshows. I just don't like it. Never have.
All right.
Bootios are weird.
And I do have one that's I have one. I could have 40 that are an honorable mention for my worst, but I will get it out of the way now. So nobody knows, how did he not say it? The gobbledygooker.
Okay. Yep. Gobbledygooker.
I'm still mad about it. I wasn't even fucking born yet.
Listen.
Number 5, Spirit Squad.
Yep. Okay. Yeah, I forgot. I didn't watch around that time as much.
I am too. Maybe it's toxic masculinity. I don't know. It just pissed me off. I was so happy to watch DX whip their ass as many times as they did.
Yeah.
Jesus Christ. We did get a great wrestler out of Dolph Ziggler out of there, though.
Yes, and Dolph is. We talked about Dolph on another one. You know, that Dolph to me is on that Mount Rushmore of the era. So I agree.
Number 4. I don't know if you'll remember. I even have his mask, Glacier.
I do remember Glacier, WCW Glacier, where they hyped him up for like 6 months, and then he came out to all the snow.
Yeah, and then they made all WCW did was go, oh, what's this video game, Mortal Kombat? We can make a character out of that. Oh shit, we'll make
put him out
another one.
there.
We'll call him Mortis. And then we'll make another one. I can't remember what the other guy's name was. Just
put them all out there.
Just shit. And I feel bad for the dude that played Mortis. I'm spacing on his name right now. But he was shit on constantly, given bad gimmicks. He was even in WWE, and he was gay. That's not me bragging on him. He was. But Vince took that, and like, I don't know if you remember that segment where he's in the in a box, and we're talking American Badass Undertaker, and he comes out singing to him, and Taker just buried the shit out of him, and that's not Taker's fault. He was told to do it, but fucking hey, dude, the dude was good at his fucking job. Why bring any of that in unless he's comfortable with it and wants to?
And I do want to kind of. We probably should have prefaced with this. I don't hold many of these people personally responsible for these bad gimmicks. Like, a lot of these gimmicks were given to them and they did the best they could with that. So I don't hold them responsible. I don't dislike the character or the person who played the character, Eugene. I don't dislike him. I dislike the character. So I feel like that's the same in this scenario. You don't have any issues with these people. You just have issues with the character.
Right, exactly. But just Glacier was shit, man.
Yeah, Glacier was shit. But, I mean, also super entertaining. The guy had some of the best karate moves since Steve Blackman. So I think Steve Blackman came after him, like a year or two after him.
So do you remember this one? And it was originally supposed to be played by Conan. Max Moon in WWE.
No.
Wearing a full
something
neon
played
suit.
by Conan.
It's like neon suit. A neon mask that had like fake cyborgy looking dreads hanging out of it. And you don't remember this? He even had a match against Shawn Michaels. You should look this up.
I'm going to have to. Yeah.
He comes out with this like weird fucking... What's that one game? It used to be big on Game Boy. The main character's name was Samus. Where you like in a super suit and you shoot fireballs out of your hand. He had one of those and he came out and shooting fireballs and shit and just... What the fuck were we supposed to think he came from the future? Like, I don't get what the fuck that was.
Yeah, a lot of these gimmicks I got mad at because they were trying to like recapture that supernatural stuff that the Undertaker did, or like the we got to make them believe that this guy's from the future or he really is a superhero. Like, no, just let him wrestle. Let him wrestle, please.
The only person that took that he's a superhero and ran with it, and it was the greatest thing that he's ever done in his career, was Hurricane, because he played like he wasn't all there and thought he was a fucking superhero.
Yeah, and I thought Hurricane Helms is one of my favorite. I still talk about it all the time. I'm like, there's a hurricane coming through as my daughter goes running through the house. I'm going to start putting a cape on her here pretty soon. So
I have it's an off-brand name of Funko Pops. I don't know what it's called. I'd have to look, but I have an Al Snow holding head, and I have a Hurricane Helms, and they're holding my WrestleMania box sets together on my DVD stand.
Al Snow is one I forgot on my favorites list.
He should be an honorable mention, obviously, for both our favorites. Number 2, Isaac Yankem. They almost fumbled Kane.
Yeah. Oh no, they did fumble Kane. They fumbled Kane a few times. Because Diesel too. Don't forget about Big Diesel. Don't forget about fake Diesel. They really tried. They tried to make that man fail. Like, they tried hard.
And fake Razor. How are they not on either of your lists? Those need to be fucking honorary.
Those are honorary number ones. Fake Diesel and fake Razor Ramon are honorary number ones.
And number 1 for me, this one's going to come... I think you're going to be surprised that I hate it this much. Sin Cara.
I am thoroughly surprised that you hate that this much. The fact that Stardust didn't come out of your mouth right here is shocking to me.
Stardust.
I fully expected it.
That's the name I told my wife last night, and I fucking forgot. I asked her.
I forgot it too.
Stardust is honorable mention, but I'm still going to put Sin Cara. Not the second version, not Hunico wearing the Sin Cara garb. Mm-hmm. I'm talking about the first one that dislocated his finger, and Del Rio's like, well, I'm just going to kick your ass for real then. We're not stopping. I'm talking about the real one that had the same entrance every week. You should have this down. You should have practiced this. And he fucks it up every single week. I'm talking about the Sin Cara that thought he was above everybody because he's got a comic book series and he was famous in Mexico. You know what? I think I just hate Sin Cara. I don't even think I hate Gimmick. More than I'm saying.
No, you just hated the guy.
I just hate the guy.
So remember that disclaimer where I said we aren't hating the people. We're really just hating the gimmick that applies to everybody except for Tyler's number one. He just really hates that guy. So
I really do. I really
he just really hates that guy.
All right, so
that's all right.
I'm going to put Stardust as number one because I did tell my wife that yesterday. That was actually my number one. But I'm going to put Sin Cara as like, he could have been great if he didn't have such a bad attitude. He could.
I thought he was going to be great.
We all did. I hated watching him wrestle on that weird like lighting that he had.
Yeah.
But once they scrapped that, which is probably another reason why he botched so much. I couldn't fucking see what he was doing, let alone he's the one in the ring.
I think we should also say any time that they had people wrestle with weird lights, I hated that gimmick also. I don't care what it was. I just didn't like it because the lights just sucked. Even the Fiend.
Yeah, I hated that. I hated that part of watching Fiend matches.
Hated it. So, well, shoot, that was good.
Yeah, look at that.
That was
Number
good.
4 out.
Number 4. So, before I ruin my life with this shot, make sure you follow us on all of our stuff. Right, we got Kayfabe Marks Podcast on YouTube, Kayfabe Marks Podcast on Twitter, Kayfabe Marks Podcast soon to come to you on Instagram and Facebook. Cassar and we're kind of working through that too. She's going to help out with that because I am an old man now, and for some reason I can manage TikTok and I can manage Twitter or X, but Facebook and Instagram are a different language to me. So we will be working through that soon. And one day I'll figure out how to put these all up on the screen when I'm doing this too. You guys will be able to see them. But until then, just look in the bio. We'll have them in there. But yeah, man, come check us out. Email, yes, kayfabemarkspodcast@myyahoo.com. That's our email. Please email us ideas. We've gotten some good ones. That is legit. We have gotten some ideas on stuff to talk about. So let's do that. Send us some stuff. We don't necessarily plan these things out weeks ahead of time. Like we talked like yesterday and said, here's what we're going to talk about tomorrow. You cool? You cool? Yep. Let's do it. So that just goes to tell you, like, we're open. We're open to whatever you guys want us to talk about. We just like to talk wrestling and have a good time and at least get one day a week being with our buddies,
100%.
So,
and I'll say that just shows our love of wrestling, that we can come up with an idea on a Saturday night and we're both like, yeah, let's run it.
Yeah. See you in the morning, or at night, see you tomorrow. So, all right, here we go. Listen, it says liqueur. I want you to know, and I'm saying this now, this will be unedited, but if this does not go well, I'm editing the rest of this out. So I just want you to know that this is really bad. Just so you guys know, I actually put it in there. It is horrible. Jepson's Malort. All right. Oh, I almost threw up. Right there.
Ooh, you're making me have to shit.
Listen, it's like take like a mint leaf, right? Put it outside. Have your dog shit on it. Have the neighborhood dogs come shit on it, right? And then like maybe a squirrel or two, and a rabbit, and then pull it out. Put it in this bottle for like 6 years. And then pour some water in there and then drink it. That's what I just drank.
You better make this one a TikTok.
It's disgusting, man. All right. Anyway, all right. We got to go.
All right.
We got to go.
I believe in Joe Hendry.
Hey. And I like to wreck everyone and leave.
See you later, buddy.
All right, guys. All right, brother. See you later.